Ira Childress, Gulliver Prep. We're on the National AD Resource Podcast. Amanda?
Hey, Ira. Yeah, let's talk about some of the topics we've come out with the last couple weeks to kind of give people some information, and let's go for it.
Yeah, the biggest thing is obviously we've all went to online learning, virtual learning, and from an athletic standpoint, athletic department, what does that mean? What does that look like? Because we're used to competing on the field and on the court and in the pool, and now we're not able to do that. How do we stay engaged with our student athletes? And we're doing that here at Gulliver. We're doing three practices a week, virtually, online, and really staying engaged with our student athletes. And some of those practices are about an hour. Mostly all of them are about an hour. They're not super long, but what it allows us to do is to maintain that dialogue, and really our student athletes and families look forward to being back with their coaches and their teammates. So through the Zoom platform, they're able to do that and connect. And that's been really, really helpful. And we can talk about in a little bit how those practices are structured. And man, I know you guys have a different setup right now.
Yeah, it depends. Right now, we're obviously we're not back in school yet. They're going virtual starting tomorrow. I've been trying to get all of my coaches have been in contact with their teams. They've had some Zoom meetings with myself so they can see each other, which all have been really successful. They've had some Zoom meetings together, just some team bonding things, focusing on captains, kind of sending out virtual workouts so that they can all kind of stay in shape. And then, I just emailed my principal asking him, since we're going to virtual, can we go to virtual practices, kind of like you guys are doing, which I think would be great. So I think I would imagine other ADs have the same question that we do in regards to what does that mean. So it's a little different than what you guys are doing.
Yeah, in the structure we have right now for everybody out there, the first 15, 20 minutes is just kind of to get to know how things are going. Coaches are going around and talking to student athletes just about themselves. And some coaches have said, hey, let's read a book together. Let's report out on that. Let's really continue to do things to get to know each other as a team. So that's kind of how the first 15, 20 minutes of practice go. And then from there, they start talking about sport-specific stuff, in terms of things that, whether it be X's and O's or things that impact that impact their sport or impact what they're doing on the field or on the court. So they have those discussions. And then the last part of it is some physical activity that they do together as a team. I just saw our swimming team and swimming program doing some different things. There are different other programs are doing other things, whether it be body weight, conditioning or body weight things. So the practices is meant to be interactive for an hour, and it's really meant to get everybody engaged and get everybody back to seeing each other. I know morale is down a little bit across the country because this is tough for a lot of reasons for a lot of people. So we're trying to help that out by really getting people engaged and at least doing a little bit in terms of engagement and a little bit a sense of normalcy.
And I think I know some of the people that have reached out to me, even as ADs, they kind of feel helpless. Like I want to help the kids and I feel bad. And I have to say it's been really great to see how many amazing ADs we have out there that really care and want that for their kids. That's been great for me for the last couple weeks of hearing from all of them.
Yeah, a lot of ADs around the country are wondering what's next and how we can continue to support our student athletes and coaches, through this tough time. And that's important. We are going to school, we are back in school. So it's important to figure out every single day how we can support them because they still want to hear from us. They still want us to be a part of their lives, and we're a very, very vital part of their lives. So we're continuing to do everything we can do while still social distancing, to help our student athletes and coaches.
Yep, agreed.
So another big topic that came up, that's continuing to come up, is the college athletic recruiting. And that's really big on a lot of different fronts. The first front, student athletes didn't get an opportunity this spring to really compete So some student athletes were counting on this to really show college coaches what they can do. So that's kind of out the window as of right now. The second piece of that is if you have been in a recruiting process and things kind of turned around or things kind of changed, what does that look like, going forward? And how do you stay engaged? How do you stay involved? And how do you continue to work through recruiting, through this pandemic? So those are a couple of things that jump out right away. I'll let you kind of jump in here. I did put out a document that we can talk about in a minute.
Yeah, and that I think was great. I think it started the topic of conversation for a lot of people. I know a lot of people that have reached out to me. I've spoke to some college people myself. The biggest thing is that they have to sell themselves. Right now they can't go see them play and they can't go see. So it's almost set up a free website, post videos, or send emails that have your stats, all the things that you've done. And I know some people don't like talking about themselves, but in this type of what's happening right now, you have to. If you want to get recruited, you've got to sell yourself and, pick your top 5, 10 schools and just start communicating. And I think that they would appreciate that, knowing that you have that, as well as the resources that you put out. And I'll let you talk about those, but those were fantastic.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is being proactive, in this recruiting period, because the colleges are limited too, so you're thinking, they normally could bring you on campus and do things like that. Well, that's not possible now. So you need to be looking at taking virtual tours, and I won't name all the things that I talked about in there, but that, that's big, and setting up a profile. Send up a profile where you can really, send that profile. And some of the things that should be in that profile is obviously your academic accomplishments, your athletic accomplishments, and all the things that you've done from athletic and academic standpoint. Also, what should be in that profile is, your highlight film. So you want them to be able to see your best plays and things that you did from that nature as well. So that's important. Also, when, connecting with your college counselors at your school and your coaches, keeping them involved in the process. So everyone's involved. Then selecting about 10 schools that are on your radar and that fit from an academic standpoint, also fit from an athletic standpoint. So you're casting your net wider. There's several things in that document that's I feel like that's very important to help that recruiting process. This is a very vital time for recruiting right now, and unfortunately, we can't do it the normal way that we always did. So, it's important to look at different ways to be unique and to be creative, and that document can really, really help. And I know they can find that where, Amanda?
They can find it on our nationaladresource.com, which is our website. They can find it on there under resources. And every time we get more resources, we're going to be adding it to that, which is great. And like you said, kids have to be advocates. They have to at this point for themselves.
Yeah. And, we're here to help. I know you guys can, you can find us on social media. We'll give our contact at the end of the show, but yeah, we're definitely here to help. But be proactive in this recruiting process. Understand it's fluid, and understand that there, it is a science to it. I've been around recruiting and been doing it for a long time, and worked at the NCAA national office. Just a little bit about my background. Before coming into high school athletics, I worked at the NCAA, so I've seen it from both sides, from the high school side and the college side and the national NCAA office side. So it's a science to it, and I feel like there's some schools out there for everyone. You just have to really be persistent in the process.
What do you think about, there's 50,000 different college recruiting people, right, that are all trying to, I'll get your child a scholarship if you pay this amount of money and all of those things. I know you and I have had people reach out and go, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to make money? And no, we're trying to help people. What are your thoughts on that? I know I have some history and some things. I've found a couple companies that I really like, but I'm not a big fan of paying someone to do your own job for you. And I think that these student athletes can do it on their own,
Right.
Use your own network, your parents and your family, and to kind of do your own recruiting that way. What are your thoughts on those?
Yeah, I don't think all the recruiting services are bad, but I do believe you can do most of it on your own. I don't think you really need to pay people to do this. So I think you can do most of it on your own. It does take some work, but if you email and get the contact, set up the profile like we talked about, you can do a lot of that on your own. Your coaches, your high school coaches, your guidance counselors can really help you through this process. So you can do a lot of it. So I would not say, hey, you know what? Go out and pay somebody $1,500 or $2,000 to set up a profile and put it online for you. In this day and age, with all the technology the way it is, I do not think you need to do that. So I would steer away from the companies that do have to pay for to help recruiting, because recruiting is a fluid business, and college coaches are online now a lot. They're connected a lot, through social media, and you can really do a lot of things on your own.
Totally agree, completely.
Yeah. So the next thing we want to touch on, we talked about the recruiting now, and we talked about the practices. Now let's go to some of the best practices, Amanda, that we've had, and we've had these calls for a few weeks now. We've been connecting for the last 3 weeks with athletic directors around the country. So during this pandemic, during this time, what are some of the best practices you heard as far as athletic directors around the country have been talking about?
I think the Zoom meetings, the virtual meetings are big because the kids can see your face. They can see your face. They can see their teammates' faces. And you give them time to laugh and joke and banter and do all of those fun things. And then as a coach, you mute everybody and then you bring it down and you talk about, some logistics. And really, I think leadership has to come out of this. I think it shows who the leaders are on your team. It's also showing your captains, as we all know, sports are not just about the sport. And I think in times like this, that's when you're going to see those things, the captains and the leading the way with virtual workouts. And those are the things I think that I have seen and heard have been the best for the people that have reached out and that we've spoken to. What are your thoughts on that?
I totally agree. And I think the biggest thing is embracing this as the new normal. I feel like the more you do that, the better off your athletic department is going to be. And you have to plan on being in this situation for a while. None of us know exactly how long this is going to last, but it's going to be a while. So we have to plan to be in this state for a while and not thinking like, well, once we get out of it, then we'll figure this out. No, we have to embrace this right now as a new normal and help our student athletes and families and coaches right now. So one of the things we're already thinking about, and maybe we won't have to use it, maybe it'll all get thrown out, and that's fine. If it does, that's fine. But we're already planning for awards, end of the year awards, spring awards that we're going to have, the athletic department awards that we're going to give out. Also National Signing Day. We're planning on doing that at some point as well, and also other awards that we plan to give out. So we're already thinking about that, and senior days as well. We're also thinking about senior days, how we're going to honor our seniors. So those things are all already in the works, and we're thinking about really cool and unique ways to do those from a virtual standpoint. So I'll be meeting tomorrow with our team of folks, team of individuals from our technology side of things, and also from our television production side of things, and just seeing what's the best ways we can really honor our student athletes, and coaches, with these awards, because we do not want to be left behind when, if this thing continues, saying, what, we didn't have a plan and we didn't take action on it. We want to have a plan, and if all of a sudden we end up coming back to school and don't have to do it virtually, great. We'll throw that plan out. But we're going to have a plan to do these awards, and student athletes and coaches work too hard not to.
Agreed. I totally agree. And I think that is the reality of where we're at. I think a lot of people are asking, when do we go back? What do you think? And I think the focus needs to be, we're not going back. And if we do, great. But if we're not going back, so we need to start planning everything that we're doing. And I also think the AD network we have is important, because you may have college coaches that follow you, and I have college coaches that follow me. And if we're all retweeting everybody's players of the week or player of the, that's going to just help them get more information out there to the coaches that want to see it. And so that's what I said to the ADs. Like I try to follow everybody that follows me so that I can like their stuff. And I've seen some great stuff already from the first 2 weeks of when you and I were starting this thing, where people are recognizing their seniors and they're taking pictures of their Zoom team meetings. And it's been great up to this point.
Yeah, and we have a lot of people. We have over 200 some people going to be on the next call. So I would advise everybody out there to jump on this call. If you're an athletic administrator, whether you're in high school or college, it doesn't matter. We've had both on the call, so it's very important. We're all in the same boat here in terms of, I know some high schools are still operating, and some colleges are operating more online now, and they're not in session, but everything's still virtual. So we're working through that, and there's a lot of brainstorming ideas that take place on the call that we host every week with athletic directors from around the country. So, Amanda, I know you have that call set up. If you want to give people the option or throw it out there now of how they can jump on that call.
Yeah, so if you go to nationaladresource.com and you click on Contact Us, that gives you kind of a Google form, and you're going to click on that, fill out your information. Part of it is we want to make sure that it's ADs and the people that really and truly want the information. Again, we're not selling anything. So as much as I love that companies have reached out, it's more for an informational, like we have to do this together. It's like one of the things I tweeted about, individually we're strong, but as a group we're stronger. And if we can really come together and build this and really help our kids and our schools and our communities, that's really what it's all about. Because we're all ADs because we care about these kids, and ultimately that's what it's about.
Yeah, I mean that's the bottom line. We're in this business to help people. This is a people business, as you know, and we'll continue to do that. And we want to network and work with other ADs across the country. The reason why you and I kind of started this whole thing was, we both were getting hit up by several ADs and saying, asking our thoughts on things. And we said, what, instead of individually sending them those ADs information back, and let's start a network and let's really try to help as many ADs as possible. And that's what we're hopefully we're doing right now. And that's what hopefully we've been doing for the last few weeks. So if you're interested in it, jump on the call, let's all work together. The slogan that we've all been using is we're all in this together, and however you want to, phrase it, that's what it is. And we have to continue to work for our student athletes and coaches. As we wrap up here, Amanda, any words, any last words that you have that you want to throw out as we wrap up?
I think the biggest thing is that, we are, like you said, we are in this together, and reach out. If there's a question, Ira and I don't have the answers to everything. We'll try to get you answers if we don't have them, but I can tell you that being able to talk to other ADs that are in the same boat, that just need someone to collaborate with, that we can talk to, and they can talk to each other. I've seen different states hosting their own now that started initially in ours. So it's just great. And it's not, it's to how many different things, and getting information out there, period. It doesn't matter who's coming from where, getting information out there. And if we can be the resource that will help people, then that's great too. But as much information out there we can get is great.
Sounds good. I think you hit it right on the head. I enjoyed this podcast, doing it with you, man, and we'll continue to work. Looking forward to the call. I know we're going to have an AD panel coming up as well. There's a lot of things that are going to be on our website, so we're looking forward to just helping. We're two ADs that that got kind of put in the middle of this, and we said, hey, you know what? Let's try to help, and that's what we've dedicated ourselves to doing. So feel free to reach out on social media. At Gulliver AD _. You can connect with me. Also, CHIR at gulliverschools.org is my email. Amanda?
Twitter is at carlsbadad, and then my email is awaterscbad@gmail.com. Feel free to email or reach out through social media to either of us, but we look forward to seeing you guys. Hopefully we see you on Wednesday. And if not, we will have more of these kind of going on hot topics so we can keep you guys informed of everything that we know.
Take care, everyone. See you soon.
See you later.